Here's some nerdy energy data. This is expressed in CO2 emissions. It's for low energy university or allegedly low energy university and office buildings. And it's just kilograms of CO2 per square metre per year at these factors. And what we've got is we've got vertical axis here, and we've got demand going this way. And let's use this blue as a benchmark. So this is the typical air-conditioned office benchmark. So what we've got is heating and hot water is red, cooling and heat rejection is blue, fans, clamps and controls is green, lighting is yellow, plug loads, office equipment in particular is this speckly bit, catering is a stripy bit, sometimes it's gas catering, which is a red stripy bit, and this is other stuff, which is predominantly server rooms and IT support, but also has lifts and things like that buried in it. Now, so here's a good benchmark for naturally ventilated, here's a good benchmark for air conditioned, here's a typical one here. Now, let's have a look at some of the fine structure here, because what we've got is, here's Elizabeth Fry that we looked at in '95. So what we got is a mechanically ventilated building that was fitting within the good practice naturally ventilated benchmark. Heating and hot water, fantastic. Fans, pumps and controls, quite high, because essentially it had extended use of mechanical ventilation through ducts embedded in the structure. Lighting, a bit disappointingly high. Moderate use of office equipment, not a lot, because half the building was seminar and lecture rooms and it didn't have the AV type stuff in it then that we have now. A bit of catering, quite a big catering kitchen, but not used very much at the time. Okay. Fitted quite well into a number of other buildings. What's happened is the sort is on the coloured bits. These are the bits the designers count. The black and white bits are the bits the designers usually don't count. Here's Gloucester Library. It was doing some very similar things. Sorry, these are the date of completion, the date of monitoring slightly afterwards. Gloucester Library also used the fabric heat storage stuff, Thermodec it was called, but it had PV panels. So the PV panels were contributing to supply, so they offset something like 10 kilograms per square metre of demand. But what's going on here when you compare it with Elizabeth Fry? Oops! Something really wrong on the heating. Air tightness and project management, largely. Not too bad on the lighting, because essentially the lighting here, even though it's more than Elizabeth Fry, was actually an open plan area where Elizabeth Fry was more cellular, so not bad at all, and certainly very good in relation to a good practice air-conditioned benchmark. More office equipment, and not quite so much of the server room. But we also looked at one in Sweden, which was very similar. So this was doing a similar job to Gloucester. It had a teeny tiny weeny little bit of PV on, just about 0.5 kilograms at British factors of CO2 per square metre. But it being following a keep it simple and do it well agenda. So here we are, we have this, £600,000 of solar panels. Why? Drop in the ocean in relation to what could have been done by waste avoidance, by keeping things simple and doing them well. And then you come on to schools. Here are a lot of educational buildings, including some more schools that have been put in. And here's the target that the Building Schools for the Future came up with about 2.5 years ago, which was based on nothing other than a wish and a prayer, and on a carbon calculator. And here's the guideline. This is the maximum for a passive house building, if you use Passive House Institute stuff. So you've got all these buildings which are just miles away from performance levels that have been established in Germany and Austria and other places, albeit sometimes for rather less highly stressed buildings than we have in this country. And here's a passive house school we looked at in Frankfurt, which is actually performing even better than that, and on carbon even better, because what I've done is I counted the carbon as if it was gas, but this actually did have a biomass boiler, but it didn't have a backup gas boiler, and the biomass boiler that they had was 1/5 of the size as the biomass boilers we tend to be having in the schools here, because we haven't done the fabric first. We haven't got it right. So we've got a victory of bling over substance at the moment. And often this is electricity in a school, half-hourly from midnight to midnight. Now, you'd thought the school used all its electricity when the children are in, but actually most schools use more than half-hour electricity when nobody is there. It's systems, mostly which people don't need, which are defaulting to on. And sometimes you can halve that or more, but you know, why is it happening at all? So, what are we going to do next?